Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Hentges with Beyond the Chart, and in this China stock market analysis video, I'm going to take a look at 4 key stock indices for China, and then check in on 2 Chinese stocks, Melco Crown Entertainment and Kandi Technologies. So stay tuned. All right, let's start off here first with the Shanghai Composite, and what you see here is the entire year view for all the way back to the beginning of June. So you can see that takes in the peak where it peaked back in mid-June. And right now, the last couple of weeks, what we've done, or several weeks actually, we've just kind of gone sideways. And let me blow that up just a little bit in here. There we go. And you can see we broke down from this like little head and shoulders pattern, and we came down in here. I really thought that the momentum might take us down and retest this low. I still think that's a very real possibility. I think we've just had some kind of a sideways consolidation. Seems to be stair-stepping its way. You know, it drops and it consolidates, it drops and it consolidates. The trend lines are all down. Almost all of the indices. Now that's the Shanghai. The Shenzhen is kind of more like the NASDAQ type indice. You can see its entire view here. The big downswings that we've had, you know, back in June, in August. Of course, well, here's August, and then January. Okay, so 3 of them. And right now it's the same type picture in here. And I've got basically the same expectations. This actually looks a little more, now that I look at it, a little more like a little triangle, like a pennant type consolidation in here. If I were to draw a line like this and draw another line across the bottom, that's what that looks like to me. So even more reinforcing the consolidation pattern that's going on. So it breaks out down. I would expect at least a retest. Now, the next indice is the, if I can find it, the CSI 300 index, which is a combination of stocks that are both on the Shanghai and on the Shenzhen. So it's a combo type indice, a little broader indice in here. And so you can see it's not quite as clear in terms of the, you know, the picture, but it's the same type pattern that's showing up, basically the drop and the consolidation sideways. This is a little more looking like the Shanghai. And again, we dropped down out of it. It looked like it started that today. At one point, the markets were down, you know, fairly well, and then they clawed their way back up in here. They ended up positive. This one, CSI 300, up 4.9. So that's the picture. Still expecting the retest down here of this low. The last one we'll take a look at is the Hang Seng Index, which is Hong Kong. And again, this is the same picture. This is all the same June 1st last year, all the way down here. You can see the trend just continues to be lower lows and lower highs, and that's the pattern that we still have until that pattern changes. Now here, we're not seeing quite the same thing. You know, this one is a little more of the pullbacks in here, the trend line, and the trend line breaks, but the downtrend is still there. And this still looks like a little downtrend. Now Thursday, or well, today is Thursday, actually, by the way, I just want to mention that. Today is Thursday, May 26th. So this data, daily data, is through today because it's already, nighttime over there right now. And the weekly data that I show on any of these indices is going to be through the week ending last Friday. So that's the way the data is laid out. So right now, this popped here on Wednesday and popped up, and then a little sideways consolidation on Thursday. We'll see whether that makes any difference because the 21-day moving average is fairly solid down. You know, the red's a 55. The blue-green or blue-gray is 21, and the blue is the 10 exponential. These are simple, and this is my trigger line, 10 exponential. So that's the picture on the indices. Let's take a look. Start off with Melco Crown Entertainment, MPEL. Let's take a look at the weekly chart. Let me zoom back out. Here's Melco on a long-term basis. This is all the data I have. This shows the bottom down here. I'm calling it 0, February 2009. And I believe we had one major impulse wave up that peaked back up here. The high close was in January 2014. So it was almost exactly a 5-year run in here. And then it just started to roll over and came back down as the troubles with Macau. This stock is a gaming stock, casino gaming stock, primarily focused on the Macau properties, although I do think they're now looking at possibly going off into Australia. I read something about that, but they're primarily tied to Macau. And for those of you who don't know it, Macau is the only legal place in China for Chinese nationals to be able to gamble. And that's why there's so much focus there, and there's been so many casinos built there. So the trend right now is very strong to the downside here. We've had a 5-wave sequence up. We're now getting this corrective move. It's been very complex, very hard to decipher what the pattern is in here. Although I do think now, and a couple of things jump out at me. Number one, this major trend line in here that's containing all of this corrective action. I think when that trend line is broken, that's going to probably mean the end of the corrective move on Melco. So the other thing that I see when I look at this, let me get my crosshairs out here, is where has this pulled back into? Okay, so look at these peaks over here at around 15 and down in here to say 9. So when you look at between 9 and 15, the stops on the sell-offs are right in the middle of the pack in here, right in the middle of this. So this stopped at 12.28. This stopped at 11.5. So, right in the middle of this pack seems to be getting support. So it looks like it's starting to generate some kind of sideways bottoming action in here. Now the thing is, let's look at the daily. You've got to have a turn. You got to have something happening to make a break out from that bottom and break this trend line. And again, this is a year's worth of data, so this is what it looks like for the last 12 months. And pardon my voice, by the way, I'm fighting a kind of a nasty cold. And so right now, it looks like it was trying to turn, but then when I looked at the data trading today, intraday, we're down here at 14.25. So again, the downtrend continues to remain in place. It continues to push to the downside, and we really don't have a turn yet, but that would be something to start watching for down here and on Melco. So let's take a look at the next one, which is Kandi Technologies. Kandi is a very popular trading vehicle there for a long time as it was moving up, and then it's kind of died off as it's sold off here. I do think also on Kandi, when we look at the weekly chart, now again, all of these, I have these on semi-log. All of my graphs are semi-log because it keeps, especially on long-term charts, it keeps everything in proportion. 1 inch on the graph down here is the same percentage as 1 inch up here. Now, if you look at this on a arithmetic, it changes the picture dramatically, and you see the kind of very spiky type exponential moves that occurred as this stock peaked out. Okay, so but let's go back and take a look at on the semi-log, and you'll see the main thing, again, we've got the 5 waves in here. So I think here's the peak up here at the top. And now we've broken down, we've got this corrective action that's going on. It's fairly deep dollar-wise. I mean, we were up over 20, we're back down, hit 5. We broke this trend line in here, okay? And what happened was you broke it and then you came back up to it in here. But the other thing that happened is you started, as these price reactions in here started to hit this area in here, the bottom of this. This is when this supply started overwhelming demand right in here, because everybody who held down through here said, oop, I'm getting back out. Anybody who bought right in here said, I'm getting back out, when they peaked back up and drove the price back down again. So right now, this too looks like the downtrend is still intact. Still looks like it's moving down. The trend lines are that way, and it just broke this minor trend line here. I say minor, 6 to 7 month trend line was broken 2 weeks ago to the downside. Let's take a look at the daily chart, and that will be it. This is all the trading for the last year, and this has some of the, actually what I've got to do, let me pause. I noticed I had a little data issue with my the trend line, the moving averages being broken. It has something to do with the way the data is loaded into the screen. So now we're fine. So this is the daily action that we've got here, and you can see that, you know, the trend has been coming down. We're going to take this off because I'm not worrying about the corrective move on it right now in terms of labeling it. And so this hasn't taken out this low right in here just yet. And actually what I want to do is clean this up just a little bit. And let me get rid of that. And then one of the things I'd look at, if we start to looking at, you know, for a possible turn, is wanting to see something like that broken. Of course, you can draw an even tighter trend line in down here, but I think this is the a bigger one on a daily basis. And you know, right now it looks like, you know, it's trying to trade above the 10 and trying to make a little turn, maybe getting ready to make a little run. Could have a little double bottom going on right in here on Kandi. Let me take a quick look at the intraday today. And Kandi's trading at 706, so Kandi's trading up a little bit. So the intraday continues. So this could be kind of interesting here on a weekly, on a daily chart. I mean, you know, from the standpoint of getting in with very little risk. I mean, you could literally put a stop down below here. I'm not recommending this. I'm just saying from an analytical standpoint, this looks like it may be getting ready to make a run. A logical stop area would be below this point, just because that seems to be a fairly strong support point in here. And if it were to run to that trend line, break that trend line, it would make I think have a high chance of making a run at these previous peaks, and then we'll have to reassess and see what it does. So anyway, that's the picture on Kandi and Melco and the China stock market for this week, and we'll be back with you next week. Have a great next couple of days and weekend, everyone.